Welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet.
We can breathe in space. They just don't want us to escape. My name is Harry Neville. Welcome along to the Gary and Harry podcast. Us, the people, we can actually, it's all a big conspiracy, you see. We can actually, humans, by, anatomically speaking, can actually breathe in space. Have you ever been to space, Guy? Well, there you go. So we can actually breathe up there, but of course they, the elite, they don't want us to escape. So they create this this myth that out there. So welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. They do, yeah. That's Enter Shikari. More words of wisdom from Enter Shikari. Yep. Oh, why do you? I hate it. Why don't start me with the shit. Like you're the one who wants to talk about COVID. I don't care. You love it. Every week you go. All right. So we've just started the show. Now let's talk about COVID. Harley, what do you know about COVID? And I'm like, you're telling the story, mate. Yeah. Well, tell them all about it if you want. I mean, personally, I would rather talk about all about it. Yeah, but not at the beginning of every show. No. So what we need to do is we need to talk about all the exciting things happening in our lives, such as the premiere of Immi the Vegan that we actually had, and all of our woes and troubles in the filmmaking world, and all the exciting, tumultuous times that are ahead for us.
I just realized my mic wasn't on for all of that section. So for anyone that missed that, they were just listening to you.
Oh, no. Really?
So no COVID update.
There was some good stuff in there. There was some good stuff in there.
No COVID update.
But here's the thing. It's all good because I just realized I started recording late as well. So this whole thing is a total clusterfuck because I started recording a little bit late, which means that I don't even have your audio on Skype.
That's true.
For the very, very, very beginning. So I'll have fun editing that. That'll be cool. I'll figure out how to make that work. But for all the people that missed everything on the live stream right then, you'll have to go along to Spotify and so on and listen to the audio version, the real version of it. Search for the Guy and Harley podcast on iTunes or Spotify, and you can hear the whole thing. So
yes, we've been doing some interesting things lately, I suppose. The film world doesn't stop. Film never sleeps.
No.
So we had the premiere of Immi the Vegan last weekend.
We did. After all this time, all these years of talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, finally it actually came out. And what a glorious response! I would say it was a pretty glorious response, both online and in the real life at the world premiere itself. I'd say a pretty great response.
One of our best responses, really.
Yeah, like people loved it. People really loved it. They got into it. It had a broad appeal. Because it's not like it's quite a wholesome series. I think it's a reasonably wholesome series. And so it's got quite a broad appeal, and it seemed to keep a lot of people happy on both sides of the vegan fence. So
we haven't had any vegan anarchists try
No,
and
well,
shut us down.
No, and there was a couple of a few times you mentioned about the possibility of getting caught in the vegan crossfire, as you and I are not vegans.
Yes.
And I know that Immi as well was a little concerned, wondering if maybe in a Q&A, if we actually wanted to do a Q&A, because maybe a nasty vegan would pop up and ask us nasty questions about the V word.
Would be lambasted.
Yeah.
For our views, but that didn't really happen.
Or for our shitty habits.
Well, I think that it's important to remember that no one gives a fuck. That their interests don't really extend that far outwards to really get that analytical about it. They just watched something and they enjoyed it. I really don't think they wanted to drill down to the core of like, well, who made these? Are they full vegan? Is this an all vegan?
Well, you're right.
They kind of just watched it and accepted at face value, which is, what we do most of the time.
I think we will end up getting some nasty questions at some point.
Sure.
Surely.
But yeah, no, it's certainly possible.
Yeah, a lot of really positive comments online as well from people, so that's pretty great. And after the world premiere, people hung out for a drink in the foyer, which you wouldn't do if you didn't really like it, because if you go along and you see something and you don't really like it, and the filmmaker's there, and you're going to have to talk to them afterwards, obviously you got to say, oh, great, that was really, you must be so proud. I can see, we can really see the effort that was put in there.
That's the, if you've ever gotten this compliment, wow, it looks like you put in a lot of effort.
Yeah,
that's like saying this is a steaming turd. That translation, I thought this was a steaming turd.
Participation trophy.
Wow,
that's what it is.
You put in a lot of effort. Oh yeah, that's fucking true of everything. But thank you for not finding a way to not compliment the the show that you clearly hate. But I didn't really get any of that.
No, me either. I got a lot of very, very positive responses from all walks of life.
Well, I do think it was good. It was good to be at a premiere. It was good to see it with an audience, enthusiastic audience, and the laughter was reverberating about the cinema. It was also nice to see it on the big screen. Unfortunately, so at the last minute, we had to make a DCP, a digital cinema package, to screen it at the cinema. We thought we could just use a sort of a computer QuickTime file, and they were like,
which was what they told,
is what they told us specifically we could do. So that was where the misunderstanding came from, is because they specifically said that's what we could do. But then that wasn't true. But then they decided that wasn't actually the case. So then we had to make this DCP out of nowhere. And I was very angry about that, because I did not really have a spare 8 hours to fiddle around with that, making that. And then, of course, there's no guarantee that it actually 100% works. Fortunately, it did work, and I will say that seeing it in that form, in that fashion, is the best way we would ever see it, because it's in fact at its highest possible quality. It's not just a QuickTime file that I'm playing through a HDMI cable. It's in the cinema. It's played with the full sound, the projector, everything. It's looking at, so we will never see it looking that good ever again, unless we do another screening somewhere.
Well, actually,
they've still got my bloody hard drive. Just
did we not pick that up?
No,
we should have taken that with us, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I did think of it at the beginning, and then I forgot about it at the end.
You're too busy glad handing at the end.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was.
And basking.
But we will see it again on the big screen, because I think what's probably the most sensible thing to do now is to submit it to some vegan film festivals as a short feature film, a 61-minute feature film.
Well, look,
and then if it gets in to a few places, because how much vegan content can there
exactly
really be?
That's we're a big fish in a small pond, and
exactly we've got a vegan feature here,
and that's the thing, is like, I'm not saying veganism is small, but I'm saying the niche market of vegan centric shows,
sitcoms,
that can be put in this 1 hour wrapper is actually like very, very few in the world. So any vegan festival right now is like, we're gonna I think, guys, we're gonna have to go non-vegan with some of these things. Guys, we're gonna have to go against our morals to
Well, how are they going?
because they're gonna have to play. They're gonna have to play. No, because they're gonna have to play some non-vegan things just to fill up their festivals right now. So the fact that
I don't think they would.
Well, I think they have to.
Not if they hang their hat on being a vegan festival.
Well, no, but what you'd do is you'd go, all the in competition films are vegan, but all the other films throughout this festival
are just eco-conscious.
Can't be vegan because there's not enough submissions. Sorry, guys.
Well, they might just be eco-conscious ones or something like that, which are not necessarily vegan. That's how I'd do it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's probably what we'll do, I guess. Film Freeway. Look up some vegan festivals.
So what that means, obviously, is we'll be watching it again on the big screen.
Yes.
At the nearest vegan festival. Although maybe not, actually, because it's probably overseas.
Well, yeah.
In which case we probably won't be attending, in which case we won't be seeing it on the big screen.
Yeah, well, I will say that I did hear a story from my director, our friend Adam St. John, director of photography, who's advised us that they've tacked a $4,000 fee onto re-entering New Zealand. Due to COVID, due to the fact that you have to go into 14-day isolation, and the government is spending a large amount of money basically putting people up in hotels for 2 weeks, you know? And so the idea is that money then pays for people to stay in quarantine and isolation until they get out of the hotel.
And is this everybody coming back, or is this people who leave and then choose to people who choose to leave and come back?
He was implying that it was just anyone that was coming back.
But they haven't done that yet, right?
I don't know if they pulled trigger on it or not, but they
I don't think they've done it. I think they're talking about it, but maybe they have.
But yeah, so unfortunately it does mean that our festival travels so would be fine getting there, but yeah, on the way back we're like, cool, we're going to spend 2 weeks in a hotel in fucking Henderson and just wait this out. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you structured it in a way that you could quote unquote work from home, but you're working from hotel, so you sort of came home and you just went back to work, except you just worked out of your hotel room.
Yeah.
I guess that could work.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be too bad. Writer's retreat, and you just take all the feedback you got at the festival and turn it into something.
The additional $4,000 is a bit of a problem, though.
That's absolutely an issue. The initial 4,000 is also
of actually just leaving to go there.
Just go.
Yeah. Although you would hope that flights are really cheap at the moment, because no one's doing them. But I guess we don't really know.
Well, I was on a plane recently.
Yep.
And I expected it to be empty. It was a domestic flight. I was thinking, oh, fuck, it's going to be so good. I was going to have so much room for my bags. I'll probably have like a whole row to myself. I got on there. They were fucking jamming us in there like sardines. Yep. And this lady next to me was coughing into her hand. You know, she's like literally 20 centimeters from me.
Face mask.
Just deflecting it to me, and she was like sneezing a couple of times and sniffling, and I was like, for fuck, no mask, of course, no mask. And here I was, old dopey numbnuts Neville, no mask, as well, sitting beside her, saying, well, you deserve anything you get, especially the second flight.
Yeah.
You know, I could have got a mask for the second flight. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't do that, because I did learn my lesson on the way down, but then it was bumpy as well, and somebody threw up. So if she had COVID, or that person had COVID,
particles are everywhere.
The particles are everywhere. So because they threw up on the floor, they managed to miss the bag somehow.
Good.
As I walked past and nearly stood in it, because I don't think the Air New Zealand staff had realised it was there. I don't think they'd bothered to inform anybody about it. These animals, so they threw up this wee puddle of puke in the aisle, the corner of the aisle, but they had the paper bag next to them. So they got a puddle of puke in a paper bag, but they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure it out.
It's really not that difficult, I would have thought.
Yeah. So anyway, the point is, it was not that cheap. It was damn packed, and it was not that fun. Like I wanted to puke.
Yeah.
I was like, get me off this fucking death trap. They're always so hot. The planes need to be so hot. Can't we open the fucking windows?
Somebody open the door. Let a bit of air in.
I've got a sore tummy.
It's a little bit bumpy. My tummy. I've got an upset tummy.
Yeah. So, but I managed to hold off on the vomiting. What I did was I had my little ear nozzle. I had it on full, on pushing down onto my bald dome, cooling me off. But then I also stole the lady's next to me, stole her one, and pointed that one towards me as well. Around. Yeah. She was none the wiser.
Yeah. Well, I will say, just back to be the vegan for a second. I did have some people come out of the woodwork for the congratulations, and it's one thing to get the congratulations. Good. Oh, it looks like you put in a real big effort for that one at the cinema screening. That is to be expected. People are kind of between a rock and a hard place there, where they cannot openly insult you for fear of retribution. For fear of the back of the hand, which is being raised threateningly to deter them. But so I had one guy who I have legitimately not seen in the flesh, in person, since high school. Message me and go, hey, I really enjoyed that. And a few other people of that ilk, of people that I legitimately have nothing to do with. They're my friend on Facebook, and that's 100% it. And I have not seen them in many, many years come and say, hey, I really, really enjoyed the show. So that's very positive. That's very cool.
It is.
A lot of people also, this is the other big indicator for me is like when you go, oh, well, thanks, feel free to give it a share. And they actually do. Whereas a lot of the time they go, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'm going to share not wanking on my Facebook, Harley. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share not wanking.
I'm going to share it right now.
Your skit. Your hilarious skit.
I'm going to share it right now with all my friends. Whereas, you kind of, they go, I'll definitely do that. I mean, I can't do it right now while I'm on Facebook, while I'm talking to you, obviously, because, it's because I'm typing to you. So I can't do two things at once, but I'll definitely do that later. They never do. So it was cool to see everyone helping out and sharing and spreading the love.
Yes. So if people want to see it, they should go along to YouTube. youtube.com/Immi the Vegan. Immi is IMMI, Immi. Also Facebook, search Immi the Vegan. Instagram, search Immi the Vegan, and it's all there. And if you go to our personal Pigville YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Pigville and the number 2, you can also see it there as well. And that one is monetized. So from our perspective, that's the best place. From your perspective, it's the worst place because it's got ads on it. So up to you, I guess.
Yeah. But so if you haven't seen it or you've been thinking or you're like, I'll get round to that, we'll get round to it, man. Check it out.
I'm going to post it in the comments right now. Here we go. So this is in the comments. I've just posted that there. Hello to everybody who's watching, by the way. There's 6 viewers on the live stream, and I'm only 1, 2. I'm only 4
I'm one of them. You're one of them. So that's only a.
No, there's one person out there. It's Nocturnal. Nocturnal NZ's
it's
out
only
there.
A third of them. So we're only a third of our audience. So that's good.
Yeah, cool, sweet. Welcome along to the show, Nocturnal.
And Agent Alvin chimes in to say hello. Hello, Agent Alvin.
All right.
So we did that. That was a thing.
Big success. Very happy. And we also had beef afterwards, though. There was one incident that marred the evening for us both.
That's right. Put a real. You could almost say it ruined the whole night.
Yeah.
Couldn't recover after it. We're just so bummed. Like the giddy heights, and then this affront to our white privilege was presented to us, and we're very, very upset about it. We had some strong words. So we went to a restaurant afterwards. Just minding our own business, ready to deliver.
And it wasn't a plan. We'd all kind of just like, we're like, oh, we just need to go somewhere to get some food, but we weren't. It wasn't like a plan. There was no book ahead or something like that. It was just kind of like there was a disparate group of people around, and we were sort of like, oh, we need something to eat. Let's go to that place. It looks good.
And so we went to the restaurant. New Flavor is the restaurant in question. The best dumplings in Auckland, I will say. But that's irrelevant now. That's all irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Well, I've got to add that my food was also delicious. Yes. I had a chili chicken peanut thing, and it was very, very, very delicious. It was the exact right amount of spicy.
No one is questioning
and seemed
the
healthy.
Quality of their meals.
It was really good.
No one is taking it into question. If you feel like a good food and it's cheap, it's very affordable.
Well, it wasn't that cheap. It was $20 for a plate.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so we went to this restaurant, and a large group of, like, I suppose 8, right? About 8.
Well, we had 2 tables, so it was actually more like 15.
So a huge surge in business. And we went to pay the bill, and we were told that we couldn't split it.
Yeah, you couldn't just, because I was like, oh, I tell you what, I'm clever. I'm gonna get my thing paid for first, because one was a nice round $20. So I was like, oh, I'll get up, I'll go to the toilet, I'll pay off my meal, and then I'll avoid the line. I'll get it done. And I went over, and then they were like, no, you've got to pay for everything. I was like, fucking what? I don't know half these people.
Who is that guy on the end of the table? I don't know him.
Yeah, like
I'm not paying for his meal.
Paying for everyone, and then getting these people to like transfer me money. You out your fucking head or what? Well, obviously I'm just, here's $20, man. You know, like here's I had that one. You know, Jesus. You know, and there was not even that many people around. But he was like, nope, policy, and that was it. And he had the final word on it. He was like, nope, that's our policy. And it's like, come on, man, this is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, if we'd just walked in individually and bought 10 individual meals, it wouldn't be an issue. But because we're at one table, it's an issue. But if we had sat at 10 different tables and taken up the whole fucking restaurant as individuals, that'd be fine.
Yes.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, obviously, that's the stupidest policy ever. It's hurting business, and it's pissing off the likes of us and making us piss and moan about it and not be able to go back and eat their delicious food. On principle.
And so, you know, rather than respect the restaurant and the delicious meal that they made for us, we decided to cause a huge scene and argue about it with them for about 10 minutes.
Well, the issue was the logistics. We don't know everybody at the table. We can't just pay for everybody and then get everybody's bank detail. Like, what do you? Who does that?
I know it's utter madness.
I didn't walk in there to have a meal with 10 people. I went in there because some people I knew were going in, and it turned out we had a big old group.
And also,
but it wasn't
had we known that at the start, we would have gone, cool, separate us all up, because we're not doing that. Like, you know, we would have made it clear.
Although it does say on the counter, one bill per table, but it doesn't say it on the door.
And I didn't go up to the counter. I went directly to a
neither
table.
Did I, until I went to pay for my damn meal. Exactly.
So, so it was disappointing. We did cause a big scene.
It was a bit of a scene.
We did act like pompous, entitled arseholes, I suppose you might say.
You reckon? I mean,
well, we were raging against the machine, and the machine was wrong for sure. The machine was wrong.
The lack of flexibility was silly, because it wasn't like, you know, the place was packed, and obviously if we did it one at a time for us, it'd be a big problem. There wasn't that many people around. We were like a big group that was about to leave, and then there's going to be hardly anybody there. And so it's like, look, just get us out the way. Like, just let us do it. Nobody's going to know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was strange. It was weird. So I ended up paying, and guess what? I didn't get all that money back.
Yeah, well, I haven't given you my $20 yet.
You owe me $20. I knew I was short somewhere.
Yeah, but you know what? You owe me $23 because you charged your Audible thing to my credit card.
Do that.
So I'd call that even. I'd say that you're $3 up, actually.
I did that automatically, so that's true. So anyway, but, you know, and they said something to do with COVID. They said, since COVID, this is the new policy.
Yeah, and he was just lying.
Here's the thing. The plot thickens, Harley. Because I went out for dinner with my girlfriend last night. It was her birthday. Happy birthday to Tisha, love of my life. So
that's why I'm not at a ritzy party right now, by the way, because I'm here doing this podcast. because you postponed it so that you could take out the girl of your dreams to.
So we went to Tanuki's cave, and lo and behold, they had the same policy.
Yeah, so maybe we really are just a couple of
to say yes. So when we thought, well, this is an anomaly, this is an outlier. These people are crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe everyone's doing that now, and we are the dicks.
Yeah. Well, I feel really bad about all those 1-star reviews I gave them from my 50 accounts.
My girlfriend was quite.
They don't exist anymore. We put them out of business.
My girlfriend was fired up. She was like, we have to get everyone to give this place a 1-star review. And I was like, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to sort of organize that people are too lazy.
You could have feels enough outrage, but to be honest, obviously, I didn't actually give them a 1-star review. That food was just too good.
The food was delicious, but still. So talk about inconvenience in times of COVID. Now we all have to bloody pay for a single table at a packed out restaurant where we all breathe on each other.
We should stop. I guess we should stop crying. I guess we should stop bitching.
Talk about inconvenient.
Life's not so bad. Life's not so bad.
Although I will say that this is severe. This will severely affect your dating life, Harley, because now there's no way that you can expect your date to pay for everything, which means that it goes back onto you, and obviously you would have been.
I think you'd still be allowed to split a bill between two. I think it's just when there's a big table of 10.
1 bill per table, my friend.
Yeah.
So you'll be paying for all these dinners.
I'll be paying for everything. Yeah. Well, actually, mate, you'll be paying for all your dinners because you're the one with the girlfriend. And I very rarely go out for dinner dates. I mean, I can't think of anything worse than having to get dressed up and go to a formal dinner place for dinner with like a stranger, like a Bumble type date.
You just don't. I mean, the key is not to get dressed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I figured that key out years ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're worried about that. Agent Alvin also mentioned that he enjoyed Immi the Vegan too. So thank you, Agent Alvin.
Yes.
So that was the bit. So that ruined the whole night. We were super high on everything. Then I had to specifically pay for that bill. We did even say, well, cool. Well, we're walking. Obviously, we started. The threats came. Well, we're walking. Do you want the money or not? We're walking.
No, I was like, what's going to happen here? Are we going to?
We'll call the police.
I want to pay you the money. I was like, I want to pay you the money, but I can't. You can't hold me hostage here. I'm trying to pay you, and if you won't take the money, and I've got to go. Well, I've got to fucking go. What are you doing? And he goes, I'll call the cops. And I was like, if the cops came here and said, what's going on? And I said to them, he won't accept my money. They would be fucked off at him. They would be like, stop wasting our fucking time, man.
The beauty of this.
To him, not to me.
The beauty of this, Harley, is what you should have done if we were going to take this as far as possible, is you should have put the $20 on the thing. You go, I'm just going to leave this here.
But I didn't have cash.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, but to have the cash, I'm just going to leave this here.
Cash, I would have been like,
I'm going to leave this here. You do what you do. Why don't you call the police and tell them that I put fucking $20 on the counter here? You give them a call about that.
Take it or leave it.
What are you going to do now? This cash exists and it's in your vicinity. What are you going to do? You're going to sweep that into the bin?
Cash.
Yeah, well, that was the fatal flaw. But I feel like now we have to all return in the same group, all with cash, and all put the cash, but then that won't work because that's paying singularly, basically.
Yeah. No. You need to pay as you sit. You need to walk in, order, pay, sit down, all at the same table. And then at the end, you've done it all
leave independently or something like that.
No, it didn't work because I tried that. I tried to go there first.
Yeah, true. But what I'm saying is leave independently. You've given the $20 to them. You just leave, right? And then someone else does that a little bit later. Oh, there you go. And so on and so on. Because technically you are breaking the rules.
Sure.
So anyway,
yes. That was a bit of a black mark on the night. But other than that, a resounding success. And now we've got to look forward to doing it all again. And so if the listeners are interested, they can come along to this. We are going to have a cinema screening, and we are hoping to have it around August 16th. Yes. And so this is going to be our new premiere that we're going to be yelling about for the next 2.5 to 3 weeks or so, which is actually not really that far from now.
Gotta
And
get on with it.
so we've got to have another premiere, and we just had that premiere, but that's exciting, and that is for Older, for our second feature film, which really is finally coming out. We don't know the exact 100% date just yet, but it's looking like August 16th.
Yes, and we did break this news on the podcast. Again, we're all hyped up. We just couldn't wait to share. We're so excited. It was coming out finally.
Yeah, so that's right. There's been all these updates, right? These guys don't know this stuff yet.
We were so ecstatic and excited. We're like, yes, it's coming out, guys. Ooh, hot scoop for the podcast. You know, Amazon, it's going to be everywhere. And then pretty much, I don't know, a day after that podcast, maybe. Maybe the next day after the podcast, we got some news from our distributor / sales agent, and they were like, hey, we've got some bad news. You know how we said that it was going to be available in all English-speaking territories on Amazon? It's not going to be available in any English-speaking territories, bar the US and UK in a very specific format, not as we originally said to you. And we were kind of like, what? And the issue was that we did not make it past the Amazon censors. We were rejected on grounds of...
Our film Older was rejected
on grounds of...
by the censors.
Gratuitous nudity.
Yeah. Prolonged, obscene, gratuitous nudity. So suddenly, you know, from the heady heights to, well, shit, what do we do? And basically, what makes it worse is that our distributor or our sales agent could not tell us specifically which gratuitous nudity they took exception to. It was just a broad rejection, but not like the issue is at this time code, this is too much or whatever. It's just like, broadly speaking, it's been banned for this reason. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, do we need to take out literally all of the nudity? Or do we just need to take out the most extreme stuff? But of course, the issue is if you just take out what you want to do, obviously, is you just want to take off the bare minimum to get by the censor. But the issue with that is that every time you do it, you got to get it refinished and every time you muck around with the cut, you've got to get it re-exported and refinished and other tweaks and bits and bobs done to make it smooth. And then you've got to send it to them, upload it to them, and send it to them, and then they've got to look at it. And so it's quite a process for them to then turn around and reject it again with no information about what the actual issue is.
That's right. And so essentially you're playing guesswork, total guesswork, just kind of speculating, well, okay, so essentially you have to err on the side of caution. Well, what is the side of caution? Well, it's kind of cutting everything out. And then if you cut everything out, well, that's a large percentage of the film that you've cut out. And so we've now had to create a censored version, which we still, at the time of recording this, don't actually know whether that will be accepted. We are still waiting to hear whether this one will pass the, whether the nudity is no longer gratuitous.
And it's 4 minutes shorter now.
We had to cut out. I had to cut out 4 minutes.
4 minutes of sex. That's a lot of sex.
Yeah. So I guess that's the question is.
Does it even have its artistic integrity anymore?
Well, yes, and the answer is no. It doesn't. But we have to be diplomatic. Once upon a time, we would have probably said, look, if you can't handle this gratuitous nudity, then you don't deserve this gratuitous nudity. And we will take our film and its gratuitous nudity to only the places that accept its gratuitous nudity. And that's it. And we don't care because we are artists. And you need to respect our gratuitous nudity. Right? Yeah. You need to sit down and respect it. Respect the hell out of it.
To be a fucking grown up. Censorship's so stupid anyway.
And so, but the thing is, now we are quote unquote older, and from a money making perspective, if many of the streaming platforms will not feature your film because of said gratuitous nudity, you are hurting the film's opportunity to generate revenue and make money, not just a little bit, but significantly. And so we made the decision to remove our balls and deliver that censored version.
Place them in Amazon's purse.
Place them daintily in Amazon's purse for them to do what they will. And so it is a shame, and people, but so the good news, bad news. The bad news is that, well, hoping, touch wood, that this new version is accepted, it will still be as widely available as we originally speculated. The good news also is that the original cut of the film still will exist, and it will be available to all New Zealanders. And perhaps if you're overseas, you can order a DVD from us or Blu-ray. And
also, there will be some other platforms where you'll be able to watch. Hopefully, where you'll be able to watch, even in America and stuff, you'll still be able to watch the uncensored director's cut, but you just have to get the right link. So you won't be able to do it on Amazon Prime, which is the censored one, but you'll be able to get it on like TVOD or whatever, or a different type, right?
Yes.
Where you pay for it one at a time, like an iTunes type thing.
That's
where you
right.
pay for it $4.95 or whatever, and you get the film, but you don't have an Amazon Prime subscription.
Exactly. So it will still be available in its original incarnation, and the New Zealand version will be the
director's cut, the raunchy director's cut with four extra minutes of bonus sex.
That's what, like, bonus features. 4 extra minutes of sex.
Yeah.
But it is very...
That'll sell.
It is very frustrating because, the whole point of the film is, like, it's real and raw, and, we don't shy away from the concept that, people have sex. And so... the fact that we did have to take that out is kind of disappointing, but it will still exist. They also did say that if I was Brad Pitt, this might not be an issue.
Yeah, that was funny. And they said that if it was Brad Pitt, maybe they'd make an exception
for a small little indie film.
But it's not a Brad Pitt
film. And I was like, are you saying that I don't have the same sex appeal as Brad Pitt? And is that what you're getting at? And they're like, no, we're saying that you don't, you're not a star like Brad Pitt. You don't have the same level of box office appeal as Brad Pitt, and you're not as attractive as Brad Pitt. That's what we're actually saying.
And you don't have the same sex
and you
appeal.
don't have. So we're saying all of those things. You skipped out a few things by just assuming it had anything to do with your looks, which are far worse. So that's cool.
So that is good, yeah.
So we've made.
So cast a star if you can, people. If you're a filmmaker, cast a star.
We've made a censored version, and we're waiting to see if that will be approved. As we also go about the other sort of preparation for making the film, and there's many things to think about. Like, for example, we've got to make a Blu-ray version of the film, but then suddenly you go, well, how do you make how do you deal with physical media anymore? Because that's not really a thing. The Apples don't come with a disk drive anymore. So who even has a Blu-ray player? Apparently quite a lot of people do, so it's still worthwhile doing, but to actually make that stuff then becomes a bit trickier, because suddenly you've got to sort of open programs and do stuff that previously it was easy to do because it was just part of your sort of computer, and now it's like, well, we've actually moved away from physical media, so you have to kind of figure all of this stuff out. So that's the issue. We've also submitted our film for classification on DVD, online, and theatrical, and we're waiting to hear back as to what rating we will be given. But there's a lot going on, Older Wise.
There is.
And Nocturnal said, rule of thumb, is it Disney friendly? And certainly the answer is no on both, probably both versions. He also asked about the Capitol. Can we say how much it cost? The Capitol?
Well, we probably shouldn't.
We'll private message him that one. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't cheap, I can tell you that.
Well, it was actually quite a good deal, I think, for a cinema.
It was quite a good deal for them. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Now, guess what, Guy? I had 2 auditions, and they both went well. And I'm waiting to hear about both of them still.
And what were the auditions for?
Both of them were for commercials. Both of them were non-speaking parts.
Don't have to remember any lines.
Yep. And if I land both of them, I'll earn 12 grand. Yep. And if I land both of them and some of them get sold overseas, it has the potential to earn more like 35 grand or something like that. So
can you talk about
just waiting for that to happen?
About like what you did in the audition?
One of them I had to be in a club and talking awkwardly with some people, and in another one I had to be drunk.
Okay. Not
yeah, but not really talking.
Right.
So we're sort of talking about sort of just being there, but it's like a like a noisy club. It's not really about the dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. Because that's the thing. You're in a select few. Like I would say, you're one of the great bald actors of our generation.
Thank you. I know.
So
I am royalty amongst the Shinies.
So but within, like, if you think about your niche, your acting niche within New Zealand, you're not just an actor. You're not just a male actor. You're a bald male actor, and therefore you're in an even smaller group of people that would be auditioning. Because it's not just. Well, no, sometimes it is we just need a guy, and it doesn't matter what they look like. But then some of the auditions is like, specifically, we are looking for a bald guy for this specific look to do this thing. We need this put upon schlubby dad, and he needs to be bald. So are you running into the same people at auditions? Like you bump in, you're like, oh, hey, mate, how's it going?
Yeah, sometimes it concerns me on the level of schlubbiness I see at these auditions. When I walk in, sometimes if I walk in, I see a lot of real schlubby dad sort of look, and I'm like, really, this is
where I'm at.
These are my competitors.
These are my contemporaries.
I'm going for the same roles as the schlubby dads. This is I saw a meme or something once saying that we think we're 10 times hotter than we are. It's probably bullshit, but it's like, damn. Like obviously I think I'm 10 times hotter than I am, and this level of schlubbiness is clearly where I'm at.
Yes, well, you're like the shit, I forgot his name now. Oh, you're the Patrick Stewart of your generation.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Nothing wrong with Patrick Stewart,
and he's still going strong.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 auditions, that's good, and then I also had I was called up. Because Shortland Street, New Zealand's favourite soap opera, the pride and joy of the New Zealand television industry, Shortland Street, they were for a little while there, they were considering changing their name to Short Bald Street. And they called me up and asking about my availability and the possibility of doing a role on it. On which I jumped, obviously. It was just a guest role, but, I'd love to get on Shortland Street. I've never been on Shortland Street. But then I said I was available, and sadly they went with somebody else ultimately.
Right.
But I was close. I was in the top few.
The old
without an audition.
Yeah, it's interesting. It perhaps speaks to the.
I was up shit creek without an audition.
Speaks to the caliber of the show where they decide that you don't need to audition for parts.
No, because it speaks to the caliber of my reputation.
The Patrick Stewart of your generation.
That I don't need.
The niche.
No, it was based off a previous audition. You see, you send in a self-tape, and then you get your self-tape in the loop, and then they're like, "Cool, well, who have we got?"
Yeah.
Oh, what about this person? This guy is on the list of good actors that we can use for something at some point.
He's
here's his audition.
He's
tape.
on the list of shinies,
schlubby dads, shinies
that we have in our talent pool, our pool of our shiny roster pool.
Yeah, so which they invariably use to cast all the pedophiles and sex offenders from on the show.
In this case, you were playing a drug addict, right?
I couldn't possibly tell you. Actually, I couldn't possibly talk about storylines.
Okay.
Anyway, but in this particular case, no.
Right.
Not that one.
Okay. All right. I thought you had something else to contribute there, but no.
Yeah. Well, you derailed me with that drug talk. Oh, that's right. I was going to mention that the that ad campaign I saw recently, which had a harmful stereotype about white bald men, that's currently being peddled by the New Zealand government to raise awareness for children online and other types of. It's not just children online; it's also just general safety online for adults as well. Just general tips and that type of thing. It's a New Zealand government initiative to help people stay safe online. And one of them is about a middle-aged, like a guy in his 30s or so, a bald guy in his 30s who's obviously been messaging like a 14-year-old girl, and he shows up on her doorstep and they have like they're like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "It's me, Angel 6, lols."
Right.
And they're like, "How old are you?" And he's like, 14, haha, JK, and all that type of stuff. And he's like talking like he's a 14-year-old girl, but he's a middle-aged man and he's bald. And it's a very harmful stereotype for us shinies. Yeah. I'm not saying that people don't need to be safe online. I'm saying that you don't need to cast a bald guy to play the pedo. And there's all these different ads. Each one's got different people. None of them are bald. There's just one bald one.
The pedo. Yeah.
The pedo's bald.
Yeah, no.
I'm just saying, this is a harmful stereotype that they're reinforcing.
Interesting connections. If anything,
bald lives matter.
If anything, they need to start casting really handsome non-shinies for these types of roles.
Exactly. That's more realistic, isn't it? That maybe, a person can look all different ways.
Exactly. So,
and be a predator.
Exactly. He doesn't have to look like a predator to be a predator.
It's a harmful stereotype. Harmful stereotype about us shinies.
Perpetuating stereotypes. So well, that's good. Good luck with those auditions. Did you audition for that role that you're talking about, of that ad? You didn't. Okay.
No, I didn't hear anything. I just saw it. I just was affronted by it. Obviously, if they'd asked me to audition for it, I would have told them no.
The only time
no.
you've ever said no to a fucking audition is when you're going to be acting opposite Benedict Cumberbatch in the next Jane Campion film. That's the only time you said no to a fucking audition, you dumbass.
Well, there was also the Marvel
and the Marvel one. So it's only you only say no to the highest profile, biggest reward opportunities of your life. That's the ones you like to say no to.
Yeah. You get it.
Cool. Well, I guess we should also just briefly talk about the fact that I've been waiting for surgery. We've been talking about a surgery.
Yeah.
We've been talking.
This is an update on Operation
We've
2.
been talking about the surgery since I'm assuming about February last year.
Well, you mean
the second one? Yeah.
Yeah. And the first one was how long ago?
The first one was like sort of, I guess, the December prior to that.
So this is a long-term story arc for the long-term listeners.
The podcast, yeah. And so I was told that it was going to be on the 22nd. Well, no, first I was going to be told that it was...
So what's the issue?
Well, the issue, I'm assuming...
What's the operation for?
The operation is hip surgery. So it's hip surgery on my other hip. So I had one torn labrum and a bone chips or cartilage chips, I suppose, in between my hip joint. And I have the same thing on my other hip now. So they're now attempting to fix my other hip to prevent a hip replacement in my not too distant future. So essentially, I've been waiting for this. It's been postponed. I was going to do it at the start of the year. It got postponed. Then COVID happened. It got postponed. Then it was going to happen straight after COVID. Then it got postponed. And then it was going to happen last week. And then it got postponed to this week. So they needed some new equipment. They needed, apparently, I think the torture device, which we talked about, which is basically where they strap you to this thing and stretch your legs out to dislocate your hip so it's easier for them to get in and do the surgery. They put you between this giant metal...
Do they do that while you're awake?
No, you're asleep, thank God. As they dislocate your hip, you are asleep. But it does explain why you don't feel very nice when you wake up. Anyway, that's to allow them more room to do the things they need to do. I spoke to the specialist. He's very confident it won't be delayed again, and it is happening on Wednesday, the 29th. So only a few short days away.
Right, and this is the last episode before your surgery.
That's right. So the next couple of episodes I may be coming from a lower quality from my lounge chair, basically.
Well, if it's happening on the 29th, that is the night of the podcast.
No, it's Wednesday.
Right. So it's the day after the day before
yes.
podcast. I don't imagine we'll be doing the podcast on that day.
Definitely won't be doing it that date. No.
That week?
Well,
yeah. And then the following week, we're on the Aaron Falvey Zoom meeting on the night of the Guy and Harley podcast. So we're doing a special guest appearance on the Top of the South Filmmakers live stream thing, which we'll share. And so we'll be doing that the week after that too. Yeah. But we'll find just another time to do it, I guess.
Yep. So yes, if my last surgery is anything to go by, the following day was asleep for most of it.
Yeah.
So no, I won't be doing it next Thursday probably, in case you're so sorry to disappoint everyone. But I'm looking forward to fixing my hip. I'm not looking forward to the 6 months to 1 year recovery. That's not something I'm looking forward to, and I'm definitely not looking forward to having to get people to put on my shoes for me, and I'm definitely, maybe most of all, not looking forward to using the big boy potty again. The big boy potty, for those of you who don't know, is like a man-sized potty that sits over the toilet so that you don't have to bend as far down because of to not impinge your hip recovery. It's
so you sort of do a awkward standing squat when you shit with this big high.
You're
toilet.
just sitting at a higher angle, basically.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, all right, wheel in the big boy potty. Cool, thank you. That's cool. I'm going to attempt to take a shit now. Cool, great. That's brilliant. Look, health surgery is never good. Being healthy is something we should all appreciate and be grateful for. I just saw a thing online, a 27-year-old who I follow. He's like a YouTuber. And I actually always wondered whether this might happen to someone, where essentially, because he does, sort of updates, he talks about tech mainly, and I think he's an architect or something like that. But anyway, or a graphic designer, actually, sorry. And he was like, oh, yeah, hey, guys, just tuning in to say that I have testicular cancer. And it spread, up. Well, this was the reason I was having back pain. It spread all the way into my lungs, and that's why I was having these back and respiratory issues. And now I'm going to start my chemo. And it's like, holy fucking shit. And he's 10 years younger than me, or us.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty dire situation. So if you're healthy, got to appreciate that, and remember that.
Indeed. And what a positive, lovely note to end the show on.
Yep.
A piece of positive advice, advising you all to live, love, laugh, from Guy Picton. And Guy Picton does make known on this show how much he loves that type of advice, that type of broad,
yes,
look after yourself advice.
Yes, I look. When I saw the update from this guy, it was like, I have cancer, and I was like, oh, clickbait. Okay, mate. Yeah, I'm sure it's real serious. And then I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, holy shit, this is terrible. This is really, really serious. This couldn't be more serious. And I regret scoffing as if as we sort of look at it. So I did see someone also say that I don't know obviously that if you know anything about the Will Smith Jada Pinkett incident.
So I've heard that maybe they were she was cheating on him and maybe there was some swinging going on.
Yeah, well, allegedly their marriage was going bad and a singer said, oh, yeah, I spoke to Will and I was hooking up with Jada and he gave me his blessing. And that's caused a big uproar because they're like, what? What do you mean blessing? What, is he cool with someone fucking his wife? And then they did a big interview where it was basically like, no, I wasn't cool with it. Let's just be clear about that. And she was like, oh, yeah, it was just, things were really bad, but we've come out stronger than ever, blah, blah, blah.
Right, so they're still pretending to be together.
Yes, they're still pretending to be together. And then there was but anyway, there's a bit in it where Will Smith is like getting emotional and crying about it. And then everyone's memed that. And then someone else said, man, I feel bad when I saw that because it's like, oh, here's a man expressing his emotions, so let's rip the shit out of him on the internet for the next however long and make fun of him and laugh at him for his pain and openness. And I was like, damn, that's a really good point. Because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm ripping the shit out of him for his sad face on the... So maybe I should think twice about...
maybe this is a moment for reflection.
This is
brought about by Will
Smith's swinging wife. Swinging, smoking hot wife. So shout out to Will Smith. I'm sure he's listening.
Yeah, he definitely listens. One other thing we did is we recorded the director-producer commentary of Older the other day. Which was good. We recorded that, which was good fun after all these years to finally be able to sit there and chat through it.
Yes. I've always expressed my appreciation for directors' commentaries. Now, how many directors' commentaries or director/producers' commentaries, or let's just say commentaries in general, Harley, have you ever listened to in your long life?
Not very many, but I have listened to some.
It's not safe to say none?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's safe to say none. I've watched commentaries. I'll have Secondhand Wedding.
Okay.
I recall watching the commentary to that.
I can't count that because you were listening to it specifically for a shout out when you were in a scene and they mentioned you. So
well, that's a director's commentary that I listen to, though, isn't it? And I have listened to some other ones, but maybe not start to finish. You know.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of commentaries because I
like them too.
Like a dip in.
If the people are good, the talent have to be good.
Well, look, that's the thing about commentaries. Now, R1 is very good, of course, but they are hit and miss. So what can often happen is sometimes the person doing the commentary just starts watching the film and kind of forgets to talk. Some of them, they're not very forthcoming and they don't really say anything interesting. Sometimes they're just... joking and talking shit, but so much so that you're frustrated because you wanted a bit more of a window into the actual film as opposed to like silly banter. And so it's actually it's a real art to hit the right note on the director's commentary.
So you reckon we hit the right note?
I think so. I think it's certainly entertaining. Some people may be disappointed by the lack of sort of hey, this is how we made the film type information potentially.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part they'll just be entertained, and the good thing about the commentary is normally it does signify like, shit, we're really getting close to the end of this making this thing. And it's something that I always dreamed about doing, director's cut. Like, I've listened to, unlike Harley, who's listened to 1.2 commentaries.
I don't know why you're accusing me of not having listened to commentaries. I've listened to commentaries.
But I've listened to many commentaries.
We've never even spoken about commentaries.
I'm just confident you don't listen to commentaries.
I don't listen to a lot of them. I don't even know where to find them nowadays.
Yeah, well, that's true. I guess now they're truly a sort of collector's item, in the sense that many are only provided on Blu-ray, which no one buys anymore. But in saying that,
well, you'll be able to get it from us on our Vimeo if you buy the special package. So you'll be able to get two. So there's 2 ways to buy it that'll be coming up. One is you can just buy the film outright from us, or maybe probably all rent it. We can do either way, I think. And then the other way is you buy a special package which has the behind the scenes on it, presumably,
deleted
and also
scenes,
the
commentaries, bloopers, scenes. You name it. We've got everything there. So that's sort of what we'll do. And I will be doing an intensive making of. We have filmed interviews for all of that, but it's also having the time to put all that together is the tricky part, because it's very long, because there's a lot to talk about when you make a film over 7 years or 6.5 years. There's a lot to kind of cover, and so that makes the making of quite long, and we will sort of probably release some bits from that and then have the whole thing available on our special edition or Blu-ray, depending on when that gets finished. May not be quite ready by the time we get to our release. But keep an eye out for that. If you want to support us, go the whole hog. Purchase the special edition.
Yes, please. And olderfilm.com is where you can go and find out some more information about that, or you can find it on Facebook, facebook.com/olderthemovie, or you go to, I think we're going to be on, we're also on Instagram soon. I don't know if we're there yet, but we will be soon. Older the Movie. So, and also Facebook as well. There's a Facebook page. I said Facebook, didn't I? But yes, anyway, go find it out there, and because we'll keep you posted and get those links to you ASAP. So I reckon that might be a good place to leave it. Nice round 1 hour. So thank you very much for listening. Patreon.com/Pigville. That's another really good place to support us. And the other great thing you can do for us right now is you can go and you can watch Immi the Vegan. It's our brand new series, and we're really happy with it. And we would love it if you would watch it start to finish. That you can do that by searching on YouTube for Immi the Vegan, or on Facebook, or on Instagram.
So if we don't see you next week, we will see you as soon as possible when I have convalesced sufficiently. And, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you very soon.